On a quiet February evening in 2026, as concern for Nancy Guthrie continued to ripple through Tucson and beyond, an unexpected voice entered the broader conversation. Tom Brokaw, long regarded as one of the defining figures in modern broadcast journalism, gathered a small circle of trusted colleagues in his New York home. There were no cameras, no prepared remarks, no public statements, just conversation. At 86, Brokaw has witnessed wars, elections, national tragedy, and cultural shifts from behind the anchor desk of NBC Nightly News. Yet what he shared that afternoon was not about headlines or investigative angles. It was about something quieter and more human. The emotional framework he believed shaped Savannah Guthrie as she navigated one of the most painful weeks of her life. Observing Savannah from the beginning, Brokaw first met Savannah decades earlier when she was a young correspondent, finding her footing at NBC's headquarters in Rockefeller Center. He remembered her as focused, respectful, and unusually disciplined for someone still building a career. But what stood out most, he explained, was an invisible presence he sensed in her professional drive, her mother's influence. He described it not as domination, but as imprinting. Savannah carried lessons from home into every newsroom decision, every interview, every public appearance. That influence, Brokaw suggested, was rooted in how Nancy raised her children after becoming a widow at a young age. Strength was not optional in that household. It was foundational. Savannah, he observed, absorbed that lesson deeply and early. Over time, it became part of her professional identity: calm under pressure, controlled in delivery, deliberate in emotion. A parenting philosophy, built on resilience. Nancy Guthrie's life required resilience. After losing her husband unexpectedly, she raised 3 children while rebuilding stability from the ground up. According to Brokaw, Nancy believed the world rewarded steadiness and punished visible fragility. She did not teach her children to suppress emotion out of cruelty, but out of conviction that composure was protection. Savannah often spoke proudly of her mother's discipline and clarity. Brokaw recalled a story Savannah once shared about receiving the offer to co-anchor Today. Instead of celebrating wildly, Nancy reminded her daughter to stay grounded and focused. That response, Savannah reportedly recounted with admiration, reinforced a long-standing family code. Achievement is met with humility, and emotion must never overshadow responsibility. Brokaw believed those early lessons still echo in Savannah's demeanor today. Public composure in a private crisis. As Nancy's disappearance unfolded, Savannah addressed the public in carefully structured video statements. She thanked law enforcement, acknowledged community support, and appealed for her mother's safe return. Viewers noted her steady tone and measured language. Brokaw suggested this composure was neither accidental nor purely professional training. It reflected decades of internalized guidance about how to endure hardship. In moments of crisis, some people express anguish openly. Others turn instinctively to order and clarity. Savannah appeared to choose the latter. Brokaw did not frame this as emotional absence, but as disciplined response. He observed that she rarely allowed visible panic to surface, even as uncertainty mounted. For someone raised to equate steadiness with strength, public collapse may feel like surrender. In that sense, her presentation mirrored the example she witnessed throughout childhood. The weight of expectation. Brokaw gently explored a more delicate possibility, that Savannah's composure might also carry pressure. When children grow up internalizing high expectations, they can interpret love and approval through the lens of performance. Savannah's career has long required excellence under scrutiny, and she has met those demands repeatedly. Yet personal crises introduce a different dimension, one where control is limited. Brokaw wondered aloud whether part of Savannah's emotional restraint stemmed from a lifelong desire to demonstrate competence, especially in front of the parent who modelled it so strongly. He emphasized that Nancy's intentions were protective, not punitive. Still, when resilience becomes identity, vulnerability can feel unfamiliar or even unsafe. In public appeals for her mother's return, Savannah appeared determined to maintain dignity, perhaps reflecting the belief that steadiness honors the values she was raised with, strength as both anchor and armor. One of Brokaw's most reflective points centered on the dual nature of strength. The very quality that steadies a person during crisis can also isolate them from visible support. Savannah's on-air presence during this ordeal resembled her professional persona: clear, articulate, focused. Brokaw noted that in decades of knowing her, he had rarely seen her lose composure publicly. That restraint may protect her in the immediate term, allowing her to function, communicate, and advocate effectively. At the same time, armor worn too long can become heavy. Brokaw expressed hope that behind closed doors, she allows herself space to process fear and uncertainty. He did not claim insight into private conversations, only offered a perspective shaped by years of observing her navigate challenges with remarkable steadiness. The human story beneath the headlines. While media coverage naturally emphasized investigative updates, Brokaw urged those present to remember the human layers beneath the developing story. For viewers, Savannah is a familiar morning presence. For her family, she is a daughter and mother managing profound uncertainty. Brokaw believed the deeper narrative was not simply about timelines or statements, but about how early family lessons shape adult coping mechanisms. Nancy's influence, he suggested, is visible not only in Savannah's achievements, but in how she handles adversity. Whether offering reassurance to viewers or addressing difficult developments, she reflects the discipline instilled in her youth. Brokaw did not present this as critique, but as context, a reminder that every public figure carries private history into public trials. If Nancy returns home, Brokaw closed his reflections with hope. He expressed sincere belief that Nancy would return safely, and that when she did, the reunion would transcend relief alone. He imagined a conversation grounded not in evaluation or endurance, but in affirmation. Perhaps, he suggested, moments like this create opportunities for families to articulate what was always felt but rarely spoken aloud. Savannah has often credited her mother for shaping her work ethic and faith. In turn, Brokaw hoped Nancy might remind her daughter that love does not hinge on flawless composure. Strength can coexist with softness. Achievement can coexist with rest. For someone raised to meet high standards, hearing unconditional reassurance may matter deeply. Beyond the deadline, beyond the silence. As the evening in Tucson grew quiet and investigative efforts continued, Brokaw's words lingered less as revelation and more as reflection. He did not offer accusations, theories, or dramatic claims. Instead, he illuminated the emotional architecture behind a public figure's response to crisis. Savannah Guthrie's composure, he suggested, is not simply newsroom polish. It is the product of a life shaped by resilience. Whether the coming days bring answers or further uncertainty, the broader lesson remains human and universal. The ways we are raised influence how we endure. And sometimes, in the midst of waiting, what matters most is not performance, but presence. Being allowed to grieve, hope, and simply be a daughter, longing for her mother's safe return.